The truth had my ears ringing longer than a payphone left off the hook. The sound just wouldn't quit. Each moment of my life compressed and uploaded to a cold digital copy. Every scream in the night, my deepest remorse, was being dissected by two ghosts caught in a loop of nostalgia. A pair of voices in either ear, like a devil on my left and a demon on my right, talking over my life like they had money riding on it, calling out everybody I dropped, every bullet I fired. The whole rotten city was going under, but they made it sound like entertainment. I was in a podcast. Funny as hell. It was the most horrible thing I could think of.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. Welcome to the Rookie Run, a video game podcast that pairs a rookie discovering a game for the first time with a veteran returning to see how it all holds up. I'm your host Louis, I go by the handle Lubop, and today I'm once again the rookie. If you enjoy this podcast, it would mean the world to me if you could drop us a follow on your chosen podcast platform, as well as our social medias, leave us a rating, comment if you have anything to say, and most importantly, tell your friends. Moving on. My guest today, painkiller connoisseur, Valkyr junkie, and a man who's constantly flying sideways through the air. Cos, aka Produced by Cos, is returning once again to be our veteran. What's good, brother?
Hey man, thanks for having me. Once again.
No worries, man. How's things?
Excellent, mate. Just fantastic playing this game again. Really happy to do it. How are you doing?
Yeah, I'm very good, thanks. I really enjoyed playing it as well. I can't believe I'd left it so long.
Well, I can. I mean, it came out... When were you born? What year?
I was 1 year old when this game came out.
Yeah, I mean, it's no wonder it passed you by, but it is a classic, so I thought we'd put it on the list, see what happened.
For sure. Before I get into the game, I always ask it, with gaming, anything that you've been playing recently that you've been enjoying, anything you've been seeing in gaming news that you're looking forward to? I know there's been a lot of new announcements recently with all the different games fests.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, most of the time at the moment, it's these strange indie games that are popping up. They're really cool looking. Beta Decay's had some big updates in the news, which is looking very, very promising. A lot more people are talking about that. I think there was some tech demo or something that people were able to play. That looks great. I've been playing the Forgotten Realms, or the Old Realms Bannerlord mod. It's a full conversion mod for Warhammer on Bannerlord, Mountain Blade 2. That's been really fun. It's been a good little journey back into Bannerlord. What about you?
Yeah, I really need to play Bannerlord. I played Warband back in the day, but I've not played any Bannerlord. But with game announcements for me, it's just, there's so many. September is going to be so ridiculous. I just finished the main story for Control for an upcoming podcast episode. So sure. Resonance out in September. Silent Hill Townfall's out in September. The Onimusha reboot is out in September.
Amazing.
I think there's some more. The Summer Games Fest was just stacked. Alien Isolation 2.
Yeah.
The Code Veronica remake.
I mean, these are huge remakes and like big sequels and things this year. It's looking really promising.
There's so many. There's the Ocarina of Time remake, so then that's making me think about a Switch 2. Obviously, you got Duskbloods coming out on that as well.
Duskbloods, yeah. I mean, Ocarina of Time, man, one of the best open world games there's ever been.
Yeah, and it's something I really need to go back to properly because I played it again when I was really little, so I used to just run around like the starting village and the Great Deku Tree. And never actually really finished the game, even though it sits like in my mind as like something I can look back on fondly. I never actually really played the game, but still, you know. It's
a great journey. I highly recommend it. And there are parts, even as an adult, that you'll find challenging in terms of the puzzles, so it's good. It's really good.
Yeah, I want to do the same for Majora's Mask as well, because that was the same for me. I had it when I was younger, but didn't really play it properly.
Yeah.
But I remember being so scared by it. And then as I've got older, I've, learned about it and learned some of the themes that it covers. And I need to go back and like properly experience it myself.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, artistically as well, it's just such a fantastic little series.
Zelda's always been big for me. And then I played the more recent ones when I was younger, but they've always got this weird creepiness that just I really love. And I know Majora's Mask has tons of that.
Yeah, definitely. It's definitely the spooky one. I remember as a kid, that was the one I put down out of the two because it was the spooky one. I didn't like it.
Yeah, but this isn't a Zelda episode. Today, we're talking about Max Payne, the first Max Payne, Remedy Entertainment's breakthrough third-person shooter, one of the most influential action games of the early 2000s. Max Payne was released in 2001, developed by Remedy Entertainment, and published by Gathering of Developers. It was the first title in what's become a pretty legendary series of 3 games with, I believe, a not-so-legendary movie?
Yeah, I mean, it was okay. I've watched it at least twice, so it wasn't that bad, or at least it reminded me enough of this game to make me like it enough to watch it twice. But it was definitely a shitter.
Yeah, I've not seen it. I just saw that it was a thing when I was doing like a little bit of research for this game.
Yeah.
It's Mark Wahlberg, right? Playing Max Payne?
Can't tell if that's like perfect casting or the worst casting. Like, genuinely, it just sits somewhere there.
Get Sam Lake to do it.
What, with his Finnish accent? His thick Finnish accent?
Yeah. Does the movie follow the plot of the game?
Loosely, like it doesn't maybe follow the level structure, but it certainly follows the main story beat. You know, his tragedy, his undercover, and then his sort of like Road of Fury, his Crusade of Fury, and V.
Yeah, got ya. Right, yeah, of course.
It just has, instead of it being more about like everything's happening to Max, there's like a main protagonist, which I think is why the film kind of flopped. It sort of didn't hit what the game did, so it's not as exciting.
I see. Well, in Max Payne, players take control of NYPD detective Max Payne as he battles his way through New York's criminal underworld whilst investigating a conspiracy tied to a drug called Valkyr. Max Payne received critical acclaim upon release, with particular praise directed towards its storytelling and its gameplay, which for the time was innovative, and the game was a commercial success. There was a sequel made by Remedy, and then there was the third game, which I believe was then developed by Rockstar.
Mm-hmm. It was indeed.
Which is the one I'd played before playing this. So my history with Max Payne is I'd only played the third one. Yeah. It was quite a big game during the Xbox 360 era, which is where I did the majority of my gaming when I was younger. So I think I played it on Xbox 360 a bit, and then it was one of the first games I played when I got a gaming PC.
Oh, really? That's cool. It was definitely a fun game. It kept a lot of the same gameplay elements that made games like Max Payne 1 and 2 really fun. But yeah, I don't know. It didn't have the same flavor. I think it goes to show that these dark Finnish guys, they really know how to write a game like this.
Yeah, I don't remember Max Payne 3 having much to stand out in terms of like the story and some of the weirdness of the first Max Payne. But I do remember like some of his set pieces, and it had some cool levels. Obviously, it was a more modern game, so they could do more. Yeah. There's some bits set in some favelas that are pretty cool.
Yeah, it's funny. I think they kept the grit, but I think they misunderstood the grit, and they didn't realize that it's okay to be kind of campy with it. You know, that's kind of that's what makes noir. Like, it is super exaggerated and like kind of stupid, and it's meant to be.
It didn't have the Remedy weirdness either, which is something fairly new to me. The only I played the Alan Wakes, and then I've jumped into Control and Max Payne, and see the Remedy weirdness isn't just a Alan Wake thing. It's Remedy, and the Rockstar one just didn't really have that.
Rockstar was the original publisher alongside games, Associated Games publishers or whatever they're called. They were the console publisher, was Rockstar for the first game. Ah, okay. So they were always involved, and it was Remedy and 3D Realms, who are now Apogee. 3D Realms actually brought Remedy in to the mix. They discovered them as an indie team and brought them in to develop Max Payne, which originally was just called Max. They actually legally acquired the name Max Heat for like months, like way up to like almost like a month before the end of development, before they changed it to Max Payne. So they went through all of the legal, trouble to get that IP secured for Max Heat.
That's so weird. I've never heard Max Heat. It sounds like it would be trademarked for like a flavor of crisps.
Yeah, I think Heat was chips. Like, they're Finnish, they're looking into America, and like Heat is like, like Miami Vice, like the Heat is the cops. I think it was
Yeah,
kind
that
of
makes
tying
sense.
in on that. But I mean, massive success on release, considering they were an indie team and it was their first like major release. It sold 7 million copies like on release just for PC.
Yeah, that's crazy for 2001. What's your history with like Max Payne, and then I guess Remedy extended out from Max Payne?
I definitely played Max Payne 1 and 2, but I was also a child. I was 9, I think, when Max Payne 1 came out, and I think we probably got it in 2002, so I would have been 10. Yeah, I just remember me and my stepbrother, obviously being children, just playing it over and over again, because it does have a fairly straightforward and short story, especially when you're playing it through over and over again, because you know exactly where stuff is. But it's kind of the beauty of it, and that's how games were back then, so we'd play it over and over and over again. And then we got an official PlayStation 2 magazine, which was the UK like PS2 mag. And it was talking about how there was a secret level that you can unlock if you beat all 3 game modes, like all 3 difficulties. And we just could not beat the last one. And I literally remember like fighting and crying with my stepbrother because we just couldn't beat it.
That's so funny.
Yeah, just like funny little things like that. But this game, like being inspired by John Woo films, actually ended up getting me inspired to watch John Woo films and getting into these like strange Hong Kong cinema movies.
Yeah, I've not seen any of it, but I know, again, from just doing a little bit of research into Max Payne, that it has that inspiration. So I'll need to watch them.
It was definitely like an era which sort of died off. Kind of had its moments, especially for the action scene. Chow Yun-fat was the big actor at the time. He was in all kinds of films like Canned Heat and The Killer, A Better Tomorrow. And it was kind of cultural. Like, there's loads of references in this game. I'll try and point a couple of them out. If you Google the guy's name, you'll see his face, and you'll definitely recognize him because he's been about ever since. Just maybe not as much anymore because he's obviously a bit older. Yeah, Hong Kong action movie scene was huge back then.
That's really cool. I like that a lot of older games were taking their inspiration from movies, because there wasn't that many games to take inspiration from. There was probably nothing like Max Payne at the time, right?
Yes. There is one gameplay feature which definitely defines it as that. The bullet time.
Yeah, of course.
Which is a John Woo. That is a John Woo influence, absolutely, because that's exactly where they got it from, and they've said that in interviews. But it was the first game to ever really do it, I think.
I'd imagine so.
So they kind of coined it in a way, in terms of like gaming. But it was actually, I think, Scott Miller from Apogee said in an interview that he went to visit Remedy when they had the first tech demo, Max Heat. And they showed him like a bullet time clip, but it was a cinematic. And he was like, no, this should be gameplay. Like, the player should be doing this and like triggering the events. And that's how you got it as like the major part of the gameplay in the game.
That's awesome. I mean, in the early 2000s, 2001, when this came out, shooters were still, in their kind of infancy. You'd have had things like Half-Life and Quake, I suppose, and Halo kind of revolutionizing like the twin stick shooter for consoles.
Sure.
But there wasn't a lot of ground covered. So for Max Payne to do something like that bullet time, it was probably pretty revolutionary. Yeah,
for sure. I mean, they started developing, I say this, but the earliest development started in 1996. But I think as the 3D Max Payne that we know, that was from about 97 onwards. And they were given no deadline for releasing this game. So there was a lot of chops and changes and things like that. But one thing that they were told to work on, Remedy, was the camera, the 3D camera. They were told by 3D Realms Apogee that if you get the camera right, the game will sell well. Everything will work better. And how do you feel? Like, this game's as old as you are, but how do you feel it plays as a third-person shooter?
So good.
Yeah?
My big a thought that I had a lot of the time through it is it feels like a modern day indie game that's trying to capture the feeling of old games. And that's saying it as an indie game. That's a compliment, because obviously indie games now are like incredible. And
absolutely.
This was made in 2001, and yeah, it feels like a modern game that's trying to replicate that old school feel. It doesn't feel old.
Yeah, definitely. I wonder what that says about those indie games that really hit and do something. Because this is exactly what that is, essentially. I mean, it had the publishing of a major hitter, but essentially this is an indie game made by an indie team.
Yeah, and that kind of nostalgia hit is being captured a lot in indie games now.
Yeah.
It's an unrelated type of game, but there's a game I need to play at some point. It's a survival horror called Crow Country, and it's like old PS1 graphics.
Oh, okay.
And it looks so cool.
Wow, that sounds amazing.
Have you played any of the other Remedy games? Alan Wake, Control? I don't know if they have others. They're the ones that I know.
I think I played a bit of Alan Wake 1, but not enough for me to really remember what I was doing or going on. I've seen a bunch of Alan Wake 2, but I've not played any. And no, other than that, it's just Max Payne 1 and 2 and 3. I don't think I finished 3 even.
Yeah, they're so good. Alan Wake 2 was my game of the year 2024, if you're not counting DLCs, because Shadow of the Tree dropped the same year. And then, like I say, I've just finished Control, and it was so good.
Yeah, definitely. I'm excited to try and do that myself.
Yeah, Sam Lake is a cool guy. He's the man.
Yeah, you like it. You like his writing.
Yeah, I like his writing. He's a character in Alan Wake 2 as well.
He plays Casey.
Yes,
someone?
Detective
Casey.
Yeah, Detective Casey, which is a running character through Alan Wake.
Alex Casey. Yeah, that's him, isn't it?
Alex Casey. Yeah.
Am I right in thinking that James McCaffrey actually voices Alex Casey as well?
I'm not 100% sure.
Who is the voice actor for Max Payne? Originally, he's dead now, unfortunately. He died.
Oh, no way.
Ago. Yeah, unfortunately. It's sad, actually, because you can hear quite a few interviews from Sam Lake expressing his relationship with James McCaffrey and how he kept inviting him back for roles because he was just always perfect for him. And actually, he wrote, like, Detective Alex Casey, like, specifically for James McCaffrey.
It is him, yeah. He plays 2 characters in Alan Wake. He plays Alex Casey and Thomas Zane.
Wow.
That is a shame.
Yeah. Yeah, they knew each other for decades as well, so it's such a shame. Shout out to James McCaffrey, rip. Sorry, Sam.
Yeah, rest in peace. Speaking of Sam Lake, he's the face model for Max Payne.
Yes, he is. Yeah.
And I'd seen it before. Of course, I feel like it's impossible to miss if you're into games, right? It's always an emote in a Discord server or used in like memes, but
it's iconic.
Obviously,
there's something about that look.
It's so iconic. Like the first time he steps off that subway in like the first like mission, after the prologue. It's so funny. The facial expressions are so good, and it's not just on Max Payne as well. It's every character.
Yeah,
they have this weird like. I guess they took pictures of real people's faces and kind of just slapped it on the models.
Yeah, exactly. So actually, in the game, so one of the faces that was used for the character Nicole, who's one of the main characters in the game, is actually Sam Lake's mum.
Oh, no way.
Yeah, and there's pictures of her like holding Uzis and everything, and so they were just using people they knew. I think there was like one of the mailmen was used for one of the goons.
That's so cool.
Yeah, they were just getting anyone they could to just do these photos, because all they had to do was pose, right, and then they were going to paint over them. That's how they explained it in interviews.
Yeah, I love old school developer stories like that. Bungie always had so many of them. And I guess it was just because, it was this small group of developers trying to make these groundbreaking games. So they weren't having the budget to hire voice actors for everything. So like with Halo, they'd get Marines voiced by like random developers and things like that.
Right. Yeah. What was that skull that you could get in Halo that would give you the alternate voice lines or the extended voice lines?
I think it might have only been in MCC that it does it, because I think in the original games there was these voice lines, but some of them were rarer to get.
Okay.
But I know in MCC you can put a skull on that makes you get them consistently.
Yeah, okay. There was I Would Have Been Your Daddy. That was what it was called.
Oh yeah, that's the one.
That's the skull. I think you could get it in Halo 3 and Reach. Like natively. Yeah, fun.
Maybe.
I love those little things. It's really good to see that kind of stuff come in. A couple of secret areas in this game that has some funny Easter eggs and things like that, references.
Well, I'm not sure I would have found many of those, to be honest. Not that I've noticed, anyway.
There's very few. I'll point out a few of the secrets as we go through the levels and stuff.
Yeah, those face models are so funny. For Max and all the goons, they're just so good. They pull such weird facial expressions.
Yeah.
And then that also extends on to the graphic novels. So as part of this game, there are some like rendered cutscenes, but a majority of the storytelling is done through the graphic novels, which are again kind of photos of the actors, and then made into pages with text, and it's read out by Max Payne, and they're so good. I think that's such a cool idea. And I looked, and it's such a shame you can't buy a physical copy of it anywhere. There's like a website where you can like read it all, but imagine if Remedy released full physical copies of the graphic novel to buy.
Even just like a book with the whole story of 1 and then 2 would be incredible.
Would be awesome.
Just a big hardback that costs like 50 quid. I'd buy that for sure.
Yeah.
It's a really good story. I guess that there's panels missing, but imagine if they went back and filled those panels with like what happens in the levels with more panels. Like the bits that you play.
I would buy that.
I would
Remedy.
Say. What do you think about the character writing in the story, like throughout, like the dialogue that's spoken as well as the narration? Because it's so egregious, the language that Sam uses, because it's noir.
Yeah, it's like that perfect balance of tongue-in-cheek cheesiness and soprano sounding voice acting. But it never tips into like full parody. It finds like the perfect balance between being self-aware but completely sincere the whole way through.
I get that.
And it just adds so much charm.
That's such a great way of saying it. That was so succinct. Yeah. It's just got all the charm you want for something that's, self-aware, trying to just take you through a story, which is fantastic. I constantly felt myself pushed to get to the next comic book sequence, just so I could reveal more of the story. It was very compelling and definitely didn't take away. It gave way more, in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree. I think there's so many elements of this game that just add to its whole style and atmosphere and presentation. Even just the standard graphics of the levels. The general graphic style is, of course, pretty basic by modern standards, right? The textures are low detail, and the character models obviously have their weird angular polygonal features.
Yeah.
And it's noticeable in things like the snow with cars. I think at one point you see a car fully covered in snow, and it's just like, it's not the shape of a car, it's just a load of triangles.
Yeah.
But despite, those obvious technical limitations, I think they did an impressive job with the art direction and the visual stylization of it.
Yeah, for sure.
The locations are very distinctive and memorable. You know, whenever you're in a certain type of building or area, it feels like it all fits in some of like the hotels. Some of the walls are a bit like nasty, and there'll be some textures where the wallpaper is torn off. And that has the effect of having each level have its own identity.
Definitely. There's so much to say about the way that the game's put together artistically, from the sound to the sound design and effects to the music, the way that the enemies are paced out, the movement, the camera work. And like what we're explaining now about the way that the levels look, there's so much that lends in and like really like overlaps to create this really, really functional space. Did you feel grounded when you were pushing through the levels? Were you quite immersed?
Yeah, considering, like I said, it's a 2001 game and it's not, sometimes it can feel a little bit harder to be immersed when a game doesn't look the way you might perceive things.
There's so little complexity. There's not like tons of unique piles of trash and all this stuff that you see in modern Ubisoft games and all this kind of stuff. It's so, the next room is basically a carbon copy of the last one, or it's another corridor. But there's something about Max Payne that keeps me drawn in. I feel good about it.
Yeah, I agree as well. And it also lacks modern features. It doesn't have the same lighting and particle effects that games would have now, of course, because it was 2001.
Yeah.
But it does have that style to it that it makes it feel believable, and you can imagine all these areas in the world. It fits into this noir world. And it gets me really excited for the confirmed remakes, which are actually being given back to Remedy to develop.
Oh, that's such fantastic news. Genuinely fantastic.
If they keep it, they keep it on brand, and I'm sure they will, and they just modernize it, it's going to be so good, right? Seeing some of these areas fleshed out with modern hardware, and like one that I'll point out, it's early in the game, so it's not really a spoiler. It's the opening section where you go through Max's house, and his wife and child have been like murdered by the Valkyr addicts. It's so unsettling. I was really shocked, especially walking into the room and seeing the dead baby. Yeah,
they just throw it straight at you, and before the wife as well. It's really hard hitting. I'm glad you felt like that, actually, because I was worried that it wouldn't, because I recognized it, and obviously I wasn't too shocked, but I remember as a 9-year-old being like, oh my god, I'm discovering death. I need to think about death now. This game might have changed me a little bit, because it really is like a pretty significant scene. And they did so much with the engine and the technical limitations to translate all of this horror.
Yeah, there's some good environmental storytelling, especially in that earlier section. Maybe some of it falls off a little bit later on. There is bits. But that bit, like there's the paintings on the wall that are ajar, there's tears in the wall, and the voice acting as well, the screaming of the wife in the distance and stuff.
Absolutely.
I was, like I came into this game expecting it to feel old, sound old, look old. And when I was hearing those screams, I was like, damn, that sounds good and believable. It genuinely made me feel like oppressed.
Yeah, do you feel like it was actually really grounded? I really, really appreciate the amount of effort they went into crafting those narratives and putting those extra sounds in. You'll notice as well in the motion comics or in the comic sections, it's fully sound designed. You hear people opening doors and footsteps and sound effects of different this and that and guns, and it's a motion comic essentially, but with no moving parts.
Yeah, it's very good. That attention to detail. It made me feel like I was in a real murder scene with Max, feeling his pain.
That's a good one.
Of course, there is more that they could do in those scenes. I think Max, it maybe cuts quite abruptly, and I think that's something that happens quite a lot through the game, and it's probably part of the style.
Yeah.
But when you're going through important story sections, like with the graphic novels or Max's wife, it has these quite abrupt cuts onto the next mission. But I guess it's to just have that sort of weird feeling around it and to drive you into the next scene.
Definitely. And I don't know if you've experienced much noir storytelling before, especially with these maniac detectives and such. But it tends to be quite, you don't need to know the rest of the details sort of thing. We're just sticking to the story sort of vibe. You kind of shift from scene to scene,
Yeah, and I like these quite simple storytellings. Don't get me wrong, I love the complexities of, new Remedy games, Control and Alan Wake. They're so deep with so many little things to read. But sometimes basic stories are great. A non-gaming example of this recently is The Night of the Seven Kingdoms, the recent Game of Thrones spin-off.
Sure.
It's such a simple story, but it's so good.
It focuses on the things that you want to channel into, right?
Yeah, 100%.
It's not full of missed detail and all the rest of it. That's something I do love about Max Payne's storytelling. It's so subtle, I don't know if you noticed this, but, like, when is all of this happening? Is it one night? Or is the snowstorm keeping the city so dark that it's over a few days? You can't tell. Like, that's the noir thing of it. Like, you don't know how long Max has been going. There's a few times where he's like, I haven't slept in 100 years or whatever. You just don't know how long this is taking. Like, it's hard to imagine it. You could fit it all into one night, but it's always dark.
Yeah, and they do egg that on because a lot of the times you get the radio, the news reports talking about the snowstorm. It doesn't actually like come into the game as a sort of game-changing event, but it's always spoken about. And I think one thing that the snowstorm does well is it just kind of sets a good mood. Yeah,
definitely. Max does say one thing which kind of suggests why they might have done the snowstorm, and he says at one point that it's keeping everyone inside, less people to get caught in the crossfire.
That makes sense, and it's cool that they wrote something in for that. They didn't need to. You don't need to pick apart the details and be like, well, where are all the civilians in this?
Yeah, and I mean, there are here and there. There's like a few junkies here and there sometimes.
Yeah, mumbling weird things.
When I was a kid, they would scare the shit out of me.
Yeah, they say some weird, like horrible stuff, and the way they say it, again, it's that voice acting that it felt ahead of its time for this.
Mm-hmm. It really did.
As well as the snow, I think they're good at creating mood in interiors as well. They'll have like dimly lit areas, but then sometimes you'll get like a random neon light, and the different colors of the interiors of buildings. A big one is the nightclub level that uses the things you'd expect to see in a nightclub really well to create the mood, and the mood then shifts later into that level.
Yeah.
And it's done really well.
Definitely. I like their use of obstacles in levels as well. Going back to the bar, the nightclub things, there was bars laid out that would provide really interesting cover. But it's never so sophisticated that enemies get stuck behind it and you have to like go, oh, for fuck's sake, and like run around. It's such a low, like, bullshit game. I rarely found myself going like, oh, that's fucking bullshit. That shouldn't have happened to me. Or, God, here we go again. I was just genuinely having fun like most of the time, if not the entire time.
Yeah, it is. That what you said about the cover is really interesting because it's not something that I actually took note of, the cover, which is probably a good thing because it meant it felt natural. And in contrast, I'm playing Spec Ops: The Line at the moment.
Right.
And that does obviously that it has a big cover based system.
Yeah.
But it does that thing of just like it throws the most obvious cover that doesn't belong in the environment there to make sure you have cover. But yeah, this felt really natural.
Yeah. I'm good. Yeah, I like it. I like the way they've done it. It's all there to encourage you to use your bullet time.
Yeah. Another thing that I think adds to its style, but then it's where some limitations really show, is like some of the animations are good. Max's coat, it's obviously technically just simple. It's the same animation, but when he walks, his coat sways, and it just adds a coolness to Max being this action movie hero.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Like, the longer the game goes on as well, the more I was feeling like, Max is such a badass. He's just getting shit done,
Especially when you're getting all his quippy voice lines in the comics.
God. Any voice lines that you've written down because you just had to remember them?
Most of the voice lines that I remember would be the enemies' reactions to Max.
Oh God, they're so good.
Because what I wrote, it's super like, obviously there's, it's before, but like Sopranos core, classic mafioso gangsters. Yes. It's Max Payne! It's just so good.
Yeah, definitely.
Is there any by Max that really stick out for you?
Yeah, I think there was a couple of them that I really liked. There's one that's just like, it's just the way that Sam Lake writes it is just so unnecessary, but a car explodes on one of the comics and he says like, a bomb went off, turning snow into liquid gold. A pillar of fire lifted the remains of a car straight up into the air. Like, wow, okay, yeah, fuck, that's a car exploding, hell fucking yeah. It's just so unnecessary, but when I'm reading it, I'm just like, yeah, sure, man, like, fucking, that's cool. Another one is, there's a really good one. Only one thing you could count on, you push a man too far and sooner or later he'd stop pushing back. They're just so dry, like, classic style lines.
Yeah, it's so tongue-in-cheek, like what I said earlier, but it never pushes it into that full parody.
Yeah.
Like, you're smiling the whole way through it, laughing at bits, but it doesn't feel like it's just taking the piss fully. It feels like a real story that you're invested in. And like I said earlier, with the killing of Max's family, it really has those hard-hitting moments.
Yeah, definitely. And you know what? As the revenge story built, I was getting more and more pumped. Each time I met one of the people Max is chasing, one of these big names, I'd get a little bit pumped up, dude. My heart started racing.
That's what it's all there for. That's what they want to achieve.
Did you feel that? Did you feel that sort of mission? Did you feel the crusade as you went through the game?
Yeah, I felt it, and I could sense early on that there was more to the plot without getting too deep into it. So I was really excited to unravel the mystery. It's something I always love to do, and obviously Remedy love to write their mysteries as well, because the plot of Alan Wake is insane.
Yes.
Just quickly going back to the animations. Some of them are not the most gracefully aged, and one of them that I just have to point out is the bit where there's a moving train that you jump onto.
I was literally thinking of the same scene in my head.
It's so funny.
It is hilarious, but also it's fucking badass. And I don't know why there is a mobster. Okay, so one of the let's just play it out. One of the mobsters is running away. You get in this great chase scene. It's fucking awesome. And then he jumps onto the top of a metro train, and then you do the same, follow him. But then when he gets off, the mobster does a sick backflip off of the train, and then Max does the exact same flip off to chase him. And it's just like, why is this mobster doing like a ninja flip, holding a briefcase and a pistol off a moving train?
It's so funny.
Brilliant. So glad you pointed that one out.
Another thing that I noticed with the environments and kind of the way it looks is packed with little environmental details that kind of reward observation and the experimentation. Like there's there's an enemy in a toilet, and I didn't think anything of him. He's in the toilet, I'll kill him. And I realized his trousers are down his ankles.
Yeah.
And other things, like there's a bit where you go into a room and there's a load of enemies, obviously purposely placed in front of these wine barrels. So when you're done, spraying lead into them, all the wine barrels are then like leaking onto them.
Yeah, I wrote about the same thing in my notes. It's such a cool moment because you're using bullet time a lot as well. And sometimes when you kill the last enemy in a room, it does like a slow-mo replay of the enemy dying. And just seeing all of the shit behind them and in front of them, like paper blowing up out of cardboard boxes and all this wine like spattering out of bottles. It's actually so sick, even though it's all simple.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. It's simple. It's obviously done it's not dynamic. You know what I mean? It's when bullet hits this thing, it triggers, a little animation. It's not reacting with the environment around it. This animation, it's static. But it still looks so good. And like you say, when you've been in a big gunfight, say, especially in like a bar scene, and it goes slow motion and all the bottles are exploding, it's really good. Awesome.
It just goes so well with the action movie themes and everything.
There's other little things that you can interact with throughout the game. One of them is the beds in what is like a brothel in a hotel. And you can interact with them and they move and vibrate. It just makes it all feel as lived in as possible. It's not just copy-paste combat areas, even though some of the rooms are, it's the same room.
Yeah.
Copy and pasted. They fill it out differently to make it feel like you are progressing.
Yeah, and it's so easy to see that there's nothing in there for you, like painkillers, for instance, or ammunition, which is mostly what you're sort of searching space for if it's not an enemy, in terms of gameplay. So it's easy to walk into a room, quickly map it in your mind, and then just walk out of it because you don't need to be in there. And the variation in the rooms is enough to like not make it stale for the fact that it's the same textures everywhere and everything. The graphical limits.
Yeah.
Do you know they actually made the engine? This is a self-made engine.
Damn, that's impressive. No, I didn't know that.
Called Max 3D.
Yeah, well, I suppose, when this was built...
Sorry, Max FX it's called, sorry.
Oh, okay. Yeah, when this was built, I don't, know loads about game development, but I know that there are kind of commercial engines that teams use now. Some teams choose to have their own in-house engines, but you have things like Unreal or Unity. I don't know what it was like, when this game was developed, were there these commercial game engines that a studio could pay for? Or were studios just building their engines? I know, for example, like I said, Halo, they made their own engine. They made the Blam engine. So,
yeah, I don't know myself, to be honest.
Another thing, with the environmental detail and stuff, there's one bit later on, it's in part 3, so I won't really get into what point it is. But there's a calendar that stood out to me on a wall, and I don't know if it was an oversight in the texture. It's difficult to tell if it's actually symbolism or not, or a clue in the story. But the calendar repeats dates here and there.
Oh.
So you'll have maybe like the 15th, 16th, 17th, 18th. Then you'll have the 20th 4 times, and then it will be the 21st. And I don't know if that's, like we said earlier, how long does this take place for? If it's maybe alluding to a secret, it's always in like a stuck part of time, or if it's an overlook on one of the textures.
I feel like this is only a theory.
A game theory.
When the fix pack was made for that, the maker of the fix pack probably just AI upscaled most of the textures.
Potentially.
So
because,
most of the poster detail, because they're low res anyway, probably just got like a bit fudged.
Yeah, did forget to mention that obviously playing this on modern hardware, there are some fixes that you need to install.
It was really easy for me to find
mother.
a comprehensive fix pack with an all-in-one installer. Like straight away, I just Googled Max Payne 1 fix pack, and I just went for the first one, and it was safe, and it worked, and then I just booted the game and played it. It really wasn't a big deal.
I did the exact same thing, so it's sweet. I don't know how much it changes, and maybe me giving it all this praise, saying how it still looks good now is because of the fix pack, but you played it when it originally came out, right?
Yeah.
How different did it feel on the fix pack?
I mean, playing it on a PS2 compared to my computer was like a dream. Mostly for loading. So it was amazing. And in terms of the fix pack, yeah, like it was great. Like everything looked like I thought it would, and everything sounded perfect. All the sound cues were good. Nothing fell out of sync. It was good.
Cool. It didn't deviate from the original vision at all.
Didn't get a single crash either.
I don't think I did either, which is good.
Smooth.
In terms of the kind of presentation of the way the game looks and the graphics and things like that, have you got anything else that you'd had noted down?
The gameplay or the graphics? I mean, I got loads.
Sorry, not the gameplay. The graphics and the presentation.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, for the thing with the snowstorm, there's all these subtleties and set piece environmental parts, which is just so cleverly done. Like, obviously, limited to the 3D engine and the animation and everything. You notice the helicopters that would fly around?
Yeah.
Here and there, you get into the street, there'd be a helicopter that would fly over you and plays loud sound. It's fun because nearing the end of the game, you start wondering if it was a police helicopter that was following you the whole time. Yeah,
you do. I also noticed there's a bit where you're outside one of the levels and there's some newspapers you can read.
Yeah, okay, yeah. It pulls you in. Cool thing, when you're near a clue that Max is spotting, you get the exclamation mark over your head, but also his head tracks the clue as you move around it.
Yeah, I did notice that.
Yeah, cool little feature. It really actually helps you like subconsciously nail it in, especially when it's like something on a shelf.
Yeah, it helps you with that for sure. I've noticed that in I'm playing Final Fantasy VII Remake for the first time at the minute, and that has things like that. But this was done in 2001.
Yeah, exactly. These are good features. The comics you can read again. I like that. You can watch the last comic that played, press F1. That was always handy because, I lose concentration.
Yeah, so do I. My memory is not great either, so there was a few times where I'd replay the comic, or, it would kind of play and I'd notice a story bit, and then I want to take more time to understand what was being told. So it's nice to be able to replay that. It'd be good if games did that now, where you could replay the last cutscene or something like that.
Yeah, there's not enough of stuff like that in games now. I do want to reflect on what I've just done a lot of the time, and I've noticed a lot of modern games aren't offering that as often. Like post-match stats, or just like stats overall, like gameplay stats for the whole time. I like that. I want to look at my numbers.
Yeah, I feel that, especially with trying to be more present with understanding the games I'm playing and thinking more about them, note-taking, and obviously doing the podcast. It's nice to make sure that I'm always on track with what's going on. Control did this well. Just simply, you go on your quest log and it gives you a good write-up of the quest you're on. It will say, tell you what you did to get to this point and what you're doing currently. So it's just nice to rejig yourself. Like, I had a week on holiday and then came back and just read some of the quest log and some of the clues I'd recently picked up and the notes, and it got me right back in.
Excellent. That's the kind of thing you need in a game, especially when you're trying to tell a story. You got to help your reader, like, keep up. So yeah, I give it for that, for sure. I mean, the comics were perfect for it all. There's little things as well, like the Captain Baseball Bat Boy interludes.
Yeah, that's strange.
It was always referring to a specific mob guy.
Yeah.
He's the guy that beats you up in the baseball bat. We'll talk about that. But so he always leaves his calling card with that. But it's cool that they added that as like a comic strip and they voiced it and everything. It was really cool.
Yeah, again, I think that's probably a thing that Remedy like to do, because they have, in Alan Wake and Control, they have weird little like TV shows or like multimedia things that you can watch.
The TV shows, did you find any? There's 3.
I don't think I did.
You didn't? Oh, there's one in the motel. There's one in the hotel, the CD Hotel.
Right.
It's called Lords and Ladies. It's a man trying to profess his love to a woman, and they're like, lords and ladies. They're speaking really dramatic, Shakespearean type shit. And she's like, no, you mustn't. And he's like, yes, no, I must. And she's like, no, but I am your sister. And then, just the big dramatic.
I don't think I remember seeing any of this. Is it, when you interact with it, is it like it goes into a graphic novel, or is it just plays on the TV?
One of the goons is like watching it on TV in a hallway. You might have shot the TV by mistake when you shot him. I don't know. Yeah,
maybe. I don't think I paid attention to that. I didn't see it.
Yeah, it's one of 3. The other 2, I think, are hidden. Oh no, there's another one when you're going to fight Gogni, and it's called Address Unknown. It's like a Lynchian Twin Peaks inspired thing about pink flamingos.
Doesn't ring a bell for me.
No, you're gonna have to catch these.
I must have missed these.
And then the last one's like a Star Trek parody, which you find in a secret room. It's cool.
Oh, that's very cool. Yeah, I missed it, but yeah, they do these things in Control and Alan Wake. Sometimes they're more integral to the plot, but there's also side things. Yeah, and they're very cool. So it's obviously something they like to do.
They've been doing it. This is all history, man. This is heritage. Well, like Max Payne, it's a biggie.
It's cool to see where it was started.
It certainly is.
So I think it's about time that we speak about the beans on toast, the bread and butter of this game. Obviously, it's combat. I think it feels so good. More than 20 years later, it feels so good. And like I said earlier, I'm playing Spec Ops: The Line, which, it's not a modern game, but it still came out a good while after Max Payne.
Yeah.
Max Payne felt way better than playing that.
Yeah, really, yeah.
The shooting has like weight and the responsiveness, and you feel like the bullets are hitting the enemies.
Yeah, for
sometimes they can feel maybe a little bit spongy, but then also sometimes they drop about perfect time as you need it.
Yes. Yeah, it's very well spaced and paced, I feel, with the enemies.
Yeah, it's quite a difficult game. I didn't expect it to be difficult. I died way more than I expected to.
How good is the save system to start on combat? I have to go for that.
Yeah, it's great. And I'd give myself a little kind of boundary for the F5 saving where
you don't want to cheese
it. Yeah, I'm not doing it after every enemy. So I'd do it at the start of each encounter. And I found that the game ended up playing like an almost... Have you played Super Hot?
I was going to say Hotline Miami.
Yeah.
I felt this as well. Maybe it's playing it on PC, because when I was a kid, I don't think we had the F5 thing, so we were playing it on PS2. But doing it this way, you're like, you know, I was planning out encounters and using my full roster of weapons and like being creative and like understanding where the enemies started in the room and trying to like grenade a couple and then doing a slick fucking dive this way. I felt it was so fun. And I really loved pulling it off smooth, because when I got that room cleared without even taking a hit, I'd be like, yes!
I'm so glad you said that, because I felt the exact way, especially because the game does not give you many healing, many painkiller bottles to heal with. So I'd get to a room and I'd be one shot. If I take a shot, I'm dead. So I'd trial and error the room like I would with like Super Hot or Hotline Miami. And I'd know, right, this enemy's going to come from behind the bar. This enemy's then going to walk out after I kill him. So here's where I need to dive to make sure that when I land in cover. Because the big thing of, obviously, the combat is the bullet time. You dive through the air, slow motion, get your shots off, and you land. Whilst you're in the air, you can't die.
Yeah, you can still sometimes get hit by... No, you don't.
Yeah.
You can still get hit by bullets.
You can get hit by bullets, but I never died whilst midair.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so I'm pretty sure it gives you a bit of invincibility, because I'd watch my health go down and I'd be like one shot and I'd see me get hit by a bullet, but it doesn't actually kill you.
No way.
There is a downside to the bullet time. When you land, it's not like in Max Payne 3 where you can kind of shoot from the floor. You get a small period where you can't fire and you are vulnerable in that state.
As you get
so
up,
you can't just dive out into the open, because you'll die when you're getting up, especially if they've got a shotgun or something. So I was planning out, right, if I dive left, I'll land behind a table, which gives me time to recover to then dive to the next bit of cover.
Yeah, it felt so good, so rewarding.
It played like a room clearing game, and I think as well the physics of the bullets help with it as well, because it's not hit scan.
Yeah, they kind of have a bit of travel time, which isn't like... I didn't really feel like it was bullshit, and it really helps
doesn't feel
in
bullshit.
bullet time.
It's very dramatic. They definitely take longer than they should be. But it's cool, because you're not always aiming directly at the enemy. You're planning out their movements, especially whilst you're then traveling with bullet time. And it also adds to like the cinematic effect of it, because you can see the bullets traveling and you can see them hitting the walls after you've fired.
Yeah, nicely said. I do feel like that. It's nice as well, because, you know, in a game like this, you have to remember, like, as a player, you only have so much interaction with the world around you. And if it's a 3D shooter, it's going to be shooting stuff. So, like, having these, like, really nuanced little, you know, things which actually feel really natural to pull off, it's great. It's if anything, I'd call that, like, a serious innovation. I think that this is probably the best feeling bullet time I felt for a long time, if not ever.
Yeah, it's not super oversaturated as well. Obviously, games do it, but it felt really good. And I've played some of those games and then gone back to 2001 for Max Payne, and it feels good. Something you touched on was the using your whole arsenal. I thought the weapon sandbox was really good. And again, as a big Halo fan, weapon sandboxes is something I really like. I like figuring out all the best weapons for the different scenarios. Yeah. And yeah, it felt good in this game. I think they continue to give weapons, they drip feed you it far enough into the game to where you're getting new tools. You're not just instantly having everything. Yeah. And every gun has its distinct role.
Yeah, definitely. I never felt that I was given a new gun too late either. You know, like it doesn't give you some like absolute walloper right at the end of the game for like one fight. It doesn't do that, and I like that.
Yeah, it gives you it enough to keep you invested, to feel like gameplay elements are changing.
Yeah, and even though some guns are better than others, I'd actually find myself like switching to dual Berettas sometimes just because I wanted to fucking have a cool moment.
Yeah, you haven't got tons of ammo either, so there's a lot of time where my kind of favorite weapons, you know, I was using the assault rifle a lot once you get that, but you get that fairly late. But the dual Uzis, the shotgun, of course, not the double barrel, although it's powerful, I just kept dying reloading it.
Another PS2.
But I'd run out of ammo in those games.
Another PS2 thing I wanted to bring up was calling the Uzi an Ingram. I don't know what that is. But like a lot of games back then used to call Uzis Ingrams. Is it because Ingram was the like model producer or something of that Uzi?
I've just googled it, but so there was there's an Ingram M10, so the Mac 10. So I presume, and I think Uzi is an abbreviation for it. I'm not a gun nut. I know it as the Uzi or Mac 10.
Okay. Yeah, I use them, the dual ones.
Yeah, I use them a lot. They're very powerful.
Jump into the room and just start blasting.
But then before you have the sniper, the Desert Eagle's really good for accuracy, picking people off.
Bit long range, yeah. It's good. Definitely.
And the enemies, they're fun to fight. Obviously, they carry different weapons, and as the weapons are introduced into the game, the enemies start getting them.
Yeah.
The AI is fine. Like, I didn't go, wow, it's so smart, but I never went, oh, it's so dumb. Sometimes you can kind of lead them around a corner and have them rush you, but some of them will take cover, some of them will run at you, and then sometimes you'll get bosses, I guess, that they kind of tend to just have more health, or they'll have a pre-scripted route that they'll follow. There's a guy that you kill in a bar, and he'll run out the back door and run down the hallway, and I died so many times.
Yeah, that was a tough one for me
to get him. Because if I dove around the corner, he'd just kill me whilst I was trying to get up.
That's early on as well, so your arsenal's pretty limited. I had like one grenade, and I had to Hotline Miami that shit with that one grenade for a long time. Managed to scrape through. That was Rico Muerte, that character. Catch him with his pants down.
Yeah.
That was probably one of the more like shocking comic moments we can go into later for that. Or how did you find the scarcity? How did you find that was done in this game? In terms of like not finding so many painkillers and running out of ammo and stuff?
I thought the ammo was perfect. I thought the painkillers was, obviously I never quit the game, but it was rough. There is not a lot. Obviously they do hide them, and I was trying to look for them, so I'm sure I missed some. But it's rough. The enemies do a lot of damage to you, and I spent a lot of time going from save to save, only having a sliver of health. So I was having to clear rooms perfectly, because if I took one shot, I was dying.
Yeah.
But then using the bullet time to my advantage felt really cool there, because I knew that if I could get into the air, I'd be alright. Sometimes I'd just be like frantically like spamming the dive button while someone's running up to me with a shotgun or something.
Yeah. I like that when you dive, it reloads all your weapons. So you get a full mag whenever you dive.
Yeah, it just adds like little technique into the way you play it.
Yeah. It makes that planning thing. I'm imagining on the hardest difficulty, it's like super like that.
Right, because we were playing on, it only gives you the one difficulty at the start, right?
Yes. Oh, and then you unlock more when you play
through the game. So we're playing on the easiest difficulty, and I died a bunch. So I can't imagine how those high difficulty levels are.
Insane, like absolutely insane. I had one go at the first mission on the second difficulty after I beat the game, and I was like, "Whoa, Christ!" Because you die in maybe 2 hits, and obviously at the start of the game, everyone's got wee pistols or whatever. But later on, everyone's got a bloody machine gun, so it's like, "Oh fuck me, how am I going to get through this?" And then you've got the higher difficulty on top of that. Like, you must be dying in like a bullet. You may not get hit. Like, it's a no-death run.
I've got to watch it. I'm sure there's a no-death run on YouTube somewhere. I've got to watch that.
I fucking better be, because I do want to see that. Going back to what you were saying about feeling multiplayer, there was planned multiplayer for this game, for Max Payne.
Awesome.
But it actually caused a delay in release, which ended up in their benefit, because it pushed it back from a 2000 release, and Matrix came out, which obviously features a bunch of bullet time, just coincidentally, and it was such a smash hit that they were like, "Oh fuck, let's put a bunch of Easter eggs in." So like a couple of later missions are quite reminiscent of the final scene where all the pillars get shot up and stuff from the Matrix, and they go through the security gates in that big building.
Perfect.
Stuff like that. So because of that, they got a massive push in their marketing. So it was huge.
That's awesome.
But yeah, no multiplayer.
Like you mentioned earlier, they didn't have a set time that they needed it developed by. I think that's so good. I wish we could have that more now. I'm sure some studios do it, and some studios are happy to delay games, and indie developers, I'm sure, will take their time when they're not under a publisher.
Yeah. And I mean, even with the delay, they still got this game done in 4 years. which is pretty
it's
normal for a major development cycle. It sold 7 million copies in the first year, and it's a smash classic. Like, everybody who knows of games in that era remembers Max Payne, at least a little bit.
Yeah, it's a great example. And unfortunately, we see that delays don't even do everything they should nowadays. We've said it in other episodes, but Stalker 2 was delayed and delayed and delayed, and when it came out, it weren't ready. And
It weren't.
for us, it's still not where we want to play it. So
It's not ready at all. I don't consider it even close.
Grumble.
Grumble!
yeah.
That's still
We've got to do it right.
sore, man.
Yeah, one day it'll be done and we'll go back.
Like, I just need Grok. What's his name? Grog.
Grok.
Grok.
Yeah.
Not that Grok.
Not that Grok.
The guy that does the mod packs for Stalker.
Yeah.
We need just him to
We
take
need a
5 years off
Stalker 2,
and do
bro.
Stalker 2.
Yeah. Going back to the gameplay for Max Payne, I thought that we mentioned on it earlier how the levels will have kind of natural feeling cover. But there's also some cool little bits and bobs from the levels. There's a bit where you walk into a room for a story, and there's a shotgun trap on the door.
Yeah, classic monster weighted shotgun door trap.
And it got me.
Did it?
Well, I didn't know it was going to be there, and I kind of just opened this door, and I was like, "Oh, what's that?" And then obviously just got blasted.
It doesn't even immediately do it. Like, slowly
No, it doesn't.
drops down.
But I opened the door, and I was like, "What's this?" And obviously it shot me.
Oh god, that's so funny. Yeah, that's a good one. There's so many cool set pieces like that. I wrote a few of them down because they were just so interesting to me. A lot of them are later on. I don't know if I can go into them right yet.
But some of the environments also have like machinery that's moving platforms, a bit
Yeah,
of verticality.
yeah,
So it all adds to the variety of the gameplay, because it's not a long game, but it doesn't really overstay its welcome. I think it's one of those games that kind of perfectly sits for its runtime.
definitely.
As you start getting to the point where you're like, all right, I've seen it all now, it finishes.
Yeah, and it builds you up to the finish at the same time. So even though you might be feeling done, it tells you, like, no, we ain't done here. And then it throws you into this great bit at the end that's like, it really ramps it up to like a more significant challenge. It's quite clearly like more of a set piecey like thing, but thematically and like through the storytelling, it helps you see that, yeah, you should be fighting enemies like this, the way they are, with like an increased rate and like a bit more set out in the room and things like that. It's
Yeah, I
really,
agree.
really well paced. It uses everything it can to pace this game does. Even with the sound cues and the camera work. Camera work's great. They really did a good job on making the camera work.
Yeah, it does. It never got stuck or anything for me, so...
But a huge thing that I noticed was sound cues from enemies. If I was running down a hallway with a left and a right, almost every time I'd pass a trigger which made the enemies call out, they'd either start having a conversation with each other, or they'd be like, Max Payne's here, or some stupid shit, you know? And you'd know which way to turn down the hallway to get into the engagement, like to dive or whatever in bullet time. It's really, really intelligent the way that this game's laid out and spaced for pacing.
Yeah, I noticed that. I'm a big advocate for 10 to 20, 25 hour games, the perfect length. I'm done with these huge, long, 50 plus hours games full of filler.
Yeah, man, tell me the story and get on with it.
Yeah, I like games where it feels like everything in it is deliberate and they want you to see everything. There's no quest to go and find the old lady's 6 cats. No,
Yeah, and then try and excuse that quest by saying like, oh, well, we wanted to introduce you to that environment. It's like, yeah, man, whatever. That's actually something for Max Payne, which is a huge thing. Emerging environments. Because although it's set in a New York landscape and the first few missions are quite similar, very quickly takes you to like you said, like places with more verticality. Getting onto the rooftops was a big change. And then it takes you to, you know, a place where there's huge machinery and a cargo yard, a shipping place. Strange places you never thought you'd be, like big mansions and stuff, nightclubs. It's all over the place, and it's fantastic.
Yeah, I didn't have any kind of expectations for what environments it would take me to. You know, I kind of started playing it, and I was like, oh, hopefully I get to see something a little bit different, and for the most part it does. It's limited. It's still just metropolitan area buildings. You're not suddenly in a jungle or something, but they give you enough variety. But one thing that I want to say with you said about the rooftops, and it's something where the gameplay struggles, and I wish they didn't have it in the game. There's not loads of it, but there's a couple areas of platforming that feel really awkward and imprecise compared to like the gunplay.
Yeah, I agree. I cheesed almost every single challenge that was involved in platforming.
There was one room where there's a broken like catwalk, and it's the way out. It's in a room where there's some conveyor belts and some machinery going on, and it's not like in your jump height properly. You have to get like the perfectly timed jump, unless I was going the wrong way. So it was just frustrating. One other kind of imperfection that I found, and it might have been the way I ran into this room and played it. There's a bit where you walk into a room and it's the guy you're chasing across the rooftops, like you mentioned earlier, and you chase him into a stairwell, and he goes to the bottom of the stairwell. And what it should be is when you get near to the bottom of the stairwell, or maybe even at the top of the stairwell, actually, it should trigger a cutscene where he tells his goons that you're coming, and they start to rush you up the stairwell. For me, when I walk down this stairwell, the guy I'm chasing is just static, and I'd walk past him to the room where his goons would be. Then it would trigger the cutscene, and it'd show you the stairs in the cutscene, and I'd just be stood there, but I could still move, right? But whenever the camera angle changed in the cutscene, the way I could move would change.
Right.
So,
what?
And I couldn't get this to stop happening, right? So if I just stood there, I'd just get instantly killed because they'd start shooting before the cutscene ended.
Oh,
so
shit.
I had to work out how to, without seeing Max, maneuver him back up the stairs to get to safety.
What the fuck? That's so weird.
I had to do it like 6, 7, 8 times to actually get it properly.
I didn't experience anything like that myself.
And
That's
kind
crazy.
of just, had to cheese it. I don't know why it happened. I think I probably just like ran into the room and like dove down the stairway too quick.
Oh, God.
But that was the only sort of like major bug I ever got, to be fair. And those small weaknesses that I said, like some of the platforming and that, they're basically the only complaints I have with the game as a whole.
Yeah, I feel
just
that
some
to be
of
fair.
the awkwardness.
Yeah, a lot of the awkwardness when I was circumnavigating it, I just ended up discovering new fun things, like when I was doing the jumpy stuff. I found this one little bit on the rooftops that you could jump on top of this one bit. You have to really struggle to get up there and run about 100 meters along this fence top. But when you get up to this point, you can see over the top of the building, you can just see the helicopter that comes flying over the street, just sat there waiting to get triggered over the rooftops. Really I love little, like, boundary breaks like that.
Yeah, seeing the way things are triggered and how the developers kind of intelligently save resources.
Yeah.
It's always such an interesting thing, yeah.
Yeah, it's excellent. Excellent.
We've spoken a lot about how we love the voice acting and how the kind of the sound effects of the guns and, it all feels weighty. What did you think of the soundtrack itself?
It's a hard one, actually, because I don't really feel like it particularly stood out to me in a way like I wouldn't go back and listen to it. But at the same time, it was literally perfect for what I wanted from the game. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I think that main sort of the main theme, right? The one that you get on the menu, and the one you get whilst you've got the graphic novel open.
Yeah.
And the one that that we had played in the intro to the podcast. I think that's a pretty memorable one.
Yeah, definitely.
But outside of that, it's not. It doesn't sit there that big. It's not a soundtrack that I'd ever like put on.
Yeah, it's kind of like I'm not even sure how many tracks there are. I feel like there's more of the soundscape that I'm appreciating while I'm running around is the heavy ambience track, which is very loud and I like it, and it's specific to each environment.
I like it as well, and I think it does quite a bit of heavy lifting for the atmosphere that we spoke about earlier.
Mm.
And as well as that kind of ambient soundtrack, there's other sound effects that are played in the background with the ambience.
Yeah.
I mentioned about the nightclub level earlier, and it's not too much of a spoiler to say that it gets a bit of a shift in tone.
Mm.
But in that nightclub, you get like whispering in your headphones and weird like chanting.
Yeah, there's some spook to it.
Like a super contrasting atmosphere that I'd want to speak about more later, because I have kind of questions to ask about that.
Sure.
But
yeah,
overall,
absolutely.
I thought it sounded good in terms of everything that it needed to do, but that soundtrack does kind of miss out a little bit.
A little bit. I like the battle music though. Whenever I get into a fight, it plays a pretty hot track.
Yeah, it does, and it's
so it
the
just kind
sort
of
of
keeps going.
tracks.
I like it.
It's the sort of tracks that just add to that. Like, yeah, it's a cool guy. I'm flying through the air shooting.
Yeah, I feel like it does enough for me. It's a shame there's not like a massive amount of like bangers or whatever. But also, the creativity went to a lot of other places, and the rest of the sound design, the like authentic sound design, is so on point. I just feel like it makes up for everything. It keeps everything as ground as it can be, and it comes back to the same theme I think that this whole game relies on, which is just it's all happening to Max.
Yeah, I agree. One sound effect that I thought was quite nice is the just with the guns. Obviously, when you go into the bullet time, the sound of the guns, and you can almost hear the bullets like whispering through the air, traveling.
Yeah, does a great job of it. You know, Max's tone of voice coupled with the way the atmosphere is, like the whole game is telling the story, all of it. I love that about this game. It really is proper noir. It really is understanding what a video game, a computer game can do to tell a story, like as a medium of storytelling. Same as a film or a poem or a whatever. You know, you're trying to tell a story, and this is how you're doing it. I feel like Max Payne is the example of like, or one of the examples of what that succeeds in.
It is, and it doesn't, it doesn't have to be one of these super complex branching narrative stories. It can be a small little 9-hour linear campaign where you're just blasting a lot of dudes, but still conveys everything that it wants to in the story and the narrative.
I love blasting dudes.
Anyway. So we've started to mention a lot the story and the way the narrative moves, so I think it's probably a good time to give the spoiler warning now and move on to those sorts of things. So if you've not played it, go play it, come back, because we're going to spoil the rest of the game. Spoiler warning, spoiler warning. Okay, let's move on. So the story, as we mentioned earlier, Max is an NYPD detective, and he comes home to his family, and they've been murdered by junkies. They're Valkyr junkies, right?
Mm. It happens so straight away in the story. This is like the first bit.
Yeah. And you then get a time jump, and because of this that's happened to Max, he's joined the DEA with his detective friend, Alex Boulder. And he basically wants to get in on this Valkyr investigation because he knows that the people that killed his wife were linked to this Valkyr drug. He presumes they were just junkies, right?
Yeah. He presumes they're junkies, and he spots the symbol on the wall, the Valkyr symbol. He goes to the DEA and becomes an undercover agent infiltrating the mob.
Yeah, and he goes to do a drug deal, right? And it goes wrong, it gets loud. He stumble on it at the same time they're trying to rob a bank, right?
Yes.
And he gets in the firefight with them, and then at the end of that mission, he meets back up with his partner, who is then assassinated. So you get this double-edged sword where Max he's involved in this, this case that's going to be potentially dangerous, but then he's also set up as this cop killer.
Yeah, and because he's undercover, like he can't do anything about it. He's a fugitive. Yeah.
So it gives this, like I said, double-edged sword where they can go two ways with the plot, where, you're at risk from this mob that you're hunting to get to the bottom of this Valkyr, but then there's also the police potentially after Max. And I noticed one thing is there's one bit where the police shoot at you, right? But you don't actually engage back with them.
Yeah, well, yeah, because you're a cop, dude.
Yeah,
Max isn't a bad guy.
Yeah,
he's a man on a crusade for revenge.
So although he's undercover, he still has that kind of like moral thing of like, I can't. I'm doing a mission here.
Or is it more like, he can justify killing these criminals, but if he does kill a cop, it's gonna catch up to him. Maybe he's just smart.
But could he not argue like, oh, they didn't know my cover, I had to do it to make sure my cover didn't blow?
I think the reality is Max is focused on one thing and one thing only. Trying to find his baby's killer. That's it. Like, genuinely, that is like the story. He just consistently ignores sense and reason in favor of just pursuing the next guy like an absolute machine. If you really like take it in a bubble, like, he's a fucking monster.
Yeah, he is. He's a savage. Straight savage. So he then moves on to basically tracking this assassin and finds out that it's embroiled with this mob, the Punchinello crime family, right? And they're heavily involved in this Valkyr distribution. So from here on out, the plot is basically just working his way through this crime family to get information and basically his revenge.
Yes.
So he starts looking towards Jack Lupino.
Yeah, linked to a local deal. It suddenly popped up. Lupino had the stuff, had the V.
And he basically just works his way through these people. He'll catch up with them. He'll find clues, or they'll tell him that they're actually moving for this guy and this guy. So you go and kill more mob figures. Yeah,
it keeps moving up the chain. It keeps just getting deeper and deeper. And it turns out like the big boss knew all along that the V deals were going down, but Jack Lupino was getting too big for his boots, and he was getting too much power because the V is so strong on the street. All this kind of shit starts coming out, and it just gets deeper and deeper, and it's all happening to Max.
Yeah, and whilst you're chasing on this trail of Lupino, you find other people, Rico Muerte, and you go through the hotel, you do the rooftop chase, and then it leads you to go and find Lupino in what I think is the best mission in the game, and it's towards the end of the first chapter, which is probably the biggest chunk of the game, the Ragnarok nightclub, which I mentioned earlier.
Yeah.
And I wanted to get into it with spoilers.
You said earlier there's a big tone shift in this mission. For a first-time player, I bet this is a bit of a cool moment, actually.
It is. It's really weird. So you turn up to this nightclub, and it kind of goes how you'd expect it, right? You turn up to the nightclub, and although it's not full of people, it's just full of bad guys. It would be cool if it was like full of civilians, right? And I can imagine maybe they'll do that in the remake. But you work your way through this nightclub, and it's kind of what you expect. You're just like killing guys in the nightclub. It's loud, there's music bumping, there's lights. But then you go into the second half of it, and there's all this weird, like, occult satanic symbolism that obviously...
turns out Jack Lupino is into some pretty depraved shit.
Yeah,
there's been rumors
into it.
And you just end up discovering a pretty significant ritual circle with bodies laying on it and a ton of notes. And when Max reads them, he discovers, Jack Lupino is pretty crazy. And I just remembered one of the notes and what it says. Oh my god, it's so funny. The main note that's in the middle of the thing, I can't remember the whole note, but right in the middle, it's Jack Lupino reads aloud, "I am Mr. Beast." Oh, fuck me. When I read that at this age, I just lost my mind. I messaged you straight away tonight, like, oh my god.
Yeah, you did, yeah.
Fucking hell.
That's so funny.
Even thinking about it now, I almost cracking up laughing. So good. Can you believe it? There's a Mr. Beast reference in Max Payne. And it's the best bit of the game.
He's a time traveler.
Oh, fuck.
Crazy.
God, I almost had a fit then.
Yeah. Moving on from that, the tone shift there was really cool, and I mean, I imagine for you when you were playing it when you were younger, it was probably pretty spooky, right?
That was like one of the scariest parts to me. Obviously, it gets a little bit scarier, but that was whenever we got to that part in the game, I knew, scary times coming up. The scary missions are coming. I might have to get Mum to sit in the room.
Yeah. And we haven't mentioned it earlier, but I think it's probably a better time to mention it with the spoilers because it really took me off guard. There are weird paranormal things in this game, right? Like obviously you have Lupino and his weird occult stuff, but you also have the dream sequences, right?
Yes. Yeah, Max has a couple of nightmares, which are seemingly recurring nightmares,
Yeah, and one of the times that this happens is you get drugged, right, with Valkyr.
Yes.
I think that's us jumping the story ahead a little bit, but it doesn't matter. We're not telling the story beat by beat. But yeah, you have these dream sequences where you're kind of reliving the murder of your family, but there's the weird like platforming sections in them. But the camera zooms out. There's whispering in the ears again.
Yeah, it really distorts your view, and the spooky whispering, and your wife crying and screaming out to you. But she says things that you wouldn't expect. And actually, when I played it back, I was kind of confused. It kind of made me feel a bit weird because she's like, "No, Max, stop! No, don't do it, Max." You know, it makes
right.
It's like, so Max. It seems like Max is stuck in a cycle of guilt. God, I've been waiting to say that.
Go listen to the first episode on I Divine Psychomancy.
He's stuck in a cycle of guilt. He clearly blames himself for his wife's death, and later on in the story, you discover a tidbit. In fact, I think it is in one of these nightmares, right? You read her diary.
Yeah,
and it's all pretty curves, all the handwriting.
Mm-hmm.
And she explains that it's finally revealed to you as the player that actually Max's wife worked for the district attorney's office and had stumbled across a link between what seemed to be, back then, like an unnamed V hitting the streets. And it turns out that very likely that Max had ignored her and then come home to find her murdered. He blames himself heavily for her killing.
And the plot twists on from the mob to the kind of the creators of V and the wife's involvement later on. Just quickly in that dream sequence, one really cool detail I noticed is I can't remember if it's in the first dream sequence. There's like 3, right? You go to the baby's cot. Obviously, the baby's not there, but the little like alphabet blocks roll over and spell out dead.
Yeah, but they do it really slowly. They lift up and it goes D, E, like this, and every single block that hits, there's a big pistol shot. It goes,
yeah,
it's so good.
Yeah, so with those dream sequences and then the stuff with Lupino, I was really wondering, are they going to reveal the kind of existence of the paranormal, right? Because they obviously are hinting at it. And they don't have to. It's just extra. But I just love it. It makes me wonder what the developers actually thought whilst they were writing that, and did they have this whole kind of paranormal subplot written out in their head that no one would ever see, but it just made it work for them whilst they were writing it.
I do wonder the same. Sam Lake has said in the past that he put a lot of the Norse mythology references, like Ragnarok is the nightclub, V, the drug is Valkyr, which is, they're the maidens that lead the best warriors to Valhalla. All these different things. He said about writing, he was like, it's a writing technique, which I wanted to look at the subject we were dealing with, this gritty noir, and I wanted to find what was outside of that and see how I could fit that in to see if that would give it some spice. And the more Max's crusade kind of shaped into this grander, furious charge towards his final goal, he started to see these similarities between like Ragnarok and the Never-Ending Storm, and people complaining that it's so cold that it's the end of days.
Yeah, that's super cool. And he does a lot of this stuff with their modern games as well.
It does make you wonder.
Not that they should, but imagine the remakes. They write Max Payne into the Remedy verse with Control and Alan Wake.
That's what I was about to say.
All this paranormal stuff is AWEs, which you won't get what that is, but yeah, it would be crazy. I don't think they should. They should probably stay truthful to the remake, but they could throw in some little Easter eggs.
Did the V change him?
Yeah.
Is it linked? Yeah.
Is it a story written by Alan Wake?
Was that teased in Alan Wake? Was Alan Wake the writer of Max Payne?
But imagine, the graphic novel was one of Alan Wake's side projects he wrote under a pseudonym.
Yeah. His like his Saturn devouring his son, locked away in an attic, never to be found by anyone. He's so embarrassed by it.
Yeah.
That's great.
So at the end of Ragnarok, the mission, you then get introduced to Mona Sachs, the other assassin that comes. And she's also hunting the Punchinello mafia boss.
Yes, but for different reasons.
Because he ordered the murder of her sister, right?
Yes.
So her and Max get along, and there's this weird kind of like not flirting dialogue between them that kind of carries on.
It's very like the dame enters the scene. You know?
Yeah. But they don't want to push Max onto her, because obviously this story is him like getting revenge on his wife.
Yeah, exactly. And it's maybe a little close and flirty, but that's more for us than it is for Max. It doesn't seem like Max is particularly that interested. He likes Mona, clearly likes her, and he says as much. She's a sweet girl. But
it's for the boys.
Yeah, well, actually, it's funny because when they ended up writing Mona back into the games, because they got so much hate mail for her death that they decided that it swung their decision to bring her back in the end.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
I do need to play the second one.
It is fun. It's really good fun. It's not as I didn't find it as charming, but it is a good game.
Yeah, fair enough. And then does she drugs you, right?
No, she initially knocks you out and gives you over to the mob, and that's where you meet Baseball Bat Boy.
Does she not drug you? Is that not when you have the first dream sequence?
No, that's where you go.
She knocks you out and you have the dream sequence.
No, that's after. No, so that's after Jack Lupino. Jack Lupino, you beat him, and then Mona knocks you out, gives you over to the mob again, and you escape the hotel after having your head bashed in with a baseball bat. And then you go to. That's when Vladimir picks you up and tells you to knock off the boat in the cargo yard.
Yeah, and you go to the cargo yard. That was I didn't love that mission.
Yeah.
Didn't love it.
Didn't hate it. It was kind of like a challenge mission, like get through it. But there were some cool things in it. Like I liked the moving cargo crane.
The crane
bit at the end with the snipers.
Yeah, I was going to say that. And from that mission, Max basically just gets like an arsenal of weapons, right? So it's like, it's time to go and drop Payne on the mob.
Yeah. And then you give him a call. You give, what's his name? The Punchinello. You give Punchinello a call. And he says, do you know where my restaurant is? And Max is like, yep. And he's like, and Max says, I know it's a trap, but I'm going to go anyway. So he turns up to this restaurant, you get in there, and immediately as the level starts, the entire fucking place starts exploding.
Yeah.
And it's a sick level. I love that level.
And it's kind of good for Max as well, because all the guys inside are like confused, running wild, they don't know what's going on. And then Max Payne turns up.
It's fucking
blasting
great.
Everyone.
So you have to run through the whole level as it explodes around you, and if you take a wrong turn, you get burned. I remember that level took me quite a few tries to get through. I kept getting the wrong route.
Yeah, some of the bits, the route through the fire doesn't make it 100% clear where you need to go, so I ended up running into fire. There's a bit where you run into a room and some of the canisters explode or something, and they shoot down the room. And I found I had to do it. I had to kind of like step in, step out, and then dive under a canister.
Yeah. It was kind of a cool moment. Shame it wasn't that smooth, but I kind of liked that. I had to kind of play through it a few times, and it had that vibe again, that set piecey vibe I had to make out for myself. I also said to myself on that mission, I was like, no quick saves. I'm going to get through the labyrinth from start to finish in one go. So I did that for a few tries, and it was good fun. But then obviously after that, you're like, no, fuck that. So you go to Punchinello's house straight after that, and that's where Victoria Horn shows up. Is that her name? Yeah, I think so. Victoria Horn.
Nicole Horn.
Nicole Horn, that's her. Sam Lake's mum.
Yeah, that's crazy.
And she's the one who then gives you a lethal dose of V.
Yeah, and around this time you're starting to learn, Max is starting to learn that Valkyrie originated from like a secret military program. I think Valhalla, right? Yeah,
Punchinello essentially tells you it's deeper than this, and you find some reports that link it to that.
Yeah, and it links it to like the Aesir Corporation. I can't remember if it makes it clear that it's them this early or a little bit later.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah. Well, Nicole Horn is the CEO of Acer.
Yeah, and obviously, yeah, she comes in when you get to Punchinello, and yeah, she drugs you up.
Yeah. She's like, sorry, Max. Here's some spice. Time to start nodding, brother. She leaves you in the cold snow to OD. Go mental. Which is funny, you know, you like, obviously you're watching it and you're like, why wouldn't you just shoot him? But it's cinema, guys. Like, get over it.
Yeah.
It's funny. And then you have a great nightmare, which inspired the bit which I made for this podcast with you.
Yeah, with the fourth wall break.
Yeah, the fourth wall break, which was very weird, but somehow I still don't think it was crossing a line.
No, it's just on the edge again.
Yeah, he somehow dodges these laser beams, Sam.
Well, it's okay because, you know, he's tripping on this crazy drug. He doesn't actually think this, right? I was in a podcast. He wasn't actually thinking he was in a podcast. He was just tripping out, you know?
Was that Jesse Pinkman?
Maybe.
Yeah, it's fantastic. Fourth wall break.
But yeah, now at this point, he's he's kind of realized that it's beyond this mob family. He's ripped and teared his way through the mob family like Doom Guy. But they're not, you know, that's not the end of it. They're not the ones responsible for his the loss of his wife.
Ultimately, hasn't achieved his revenge yet.
So at this point, Max figures out that an old kind of law enforcement like colleague, I guess, who he knows is crooked, has been involved with this case, B.B. Hensley.
I think they were partners at one point. Yeah, it's crooked.
So he goes down, he goes out to track down B.B. Hensley, which is the mission where you chase him in the parking garage.
Yeah, it's such a fuck-ass mission. It's really hard.
It is really hard. It's got some pretty cool stuff, if not like a little bit janky. They're like super on rails. The cars.
Yeah, that was going to say about the animation earlier. The cars in this mission, they come speeding around corners and crash and stuff. And it's got that PS2 Half-Life 1 like fucking
they're on rails.
Crunch.
It goes round and it like they're firing out the windows, but I don't think it's actually firing at you. I don't know if you can die to it.
You can die to it.
Oh, you can. I'd probably just stayed out of the way of it then.
Yeah, and there's me like, oh look, die. I'm like, oh yeah, okay. I guess that makes sense. Riddled with bullets.
But yeah, then you chase BB through this whole parking garage, and you catch up with him, and he admits his role in the plot and the whole, you know, basically how it all drags Max into it, and you realize that the Acer Corporation is involved, and Nicole Horn has had this central role in this whole cover-up of Valkyr being this military experiment that it kind of went wrong. It got out onto the streets. It's sending all these V-heads, or whatever they want to be called.
That bastard killed Alex as well. He was the guy in the station at the start.
Yes.
That blew Alex away. Your only goddamn friend in the world.
Yeah, so it's all this plot to basically make sure nobody finds out about the whole kind of legacy of this drug B, the military experiment, so then getting it out on the streets. And it's kind of a parallel to maybe like the CIA putting crack into ghettos.
Yeah, this is Finnish people looking into New York in the 90s, which obviously was a really hard time. New York is very different today than it was back then, for sure, in terms of like street crime and gang crime and everything. So it's interesting to see how well it pulled through. Do you feel that this game's story represents? Obviously, it's meant to be egregious and kind of noir and whatever. So it's meant to be campy. But do you think it reflects Americana, like what you'd expect to see from like a New York thing like this?
What I'd expect to see in a fiction writing of it, right? It felt very at home. And I early on knew that there was going to be more to it than, it's not just this street gang, and it's not just the mob. There's going to be more behind this, and like the corruption involved.
Did you know it was set in New York before you played it?
No, I didn't.
Because
know
you're a
anything
big
about it.
Sopranos fan, and I kind of kept it secret from you because I knew that some of the voice lines from these fucking mob guys was going to blow you away.
Yeah,
but was
well, like I
was
said
it a good? Was that good for you when you realised?
Yeah, it was, and like I said earlier, I loved some of the standout voice acting was just the random mobsters shouting at Max Payne.
There's some amazing ones, like when you're running around levels and you can hear them talking to each other as well.
Yeah, it's good.
Like a lot of the voice lines that are delivered in those moments as well, they're not drivel. They actually give you a bit of story enrichment.
Yeah, sometimes they're talking about things they've done, or I think like the section earlier when after you get beaten up, I'm pretty sure you can hear them talking about beating you up.
Yeah, when you eventually have your face off with Vinny Gognitti, you do the guy that you chase on the train. You do that cool like bullet time movement. You dodge his bullet, but you get him. His immediate voice line is just, "Yeah, you shot me. Yeah, fuck." You know, like rips me apart every time.
There's a bit where you're chasing him, and he goes like behind. I'm pretty sure it's him that you're chasing. He like hides behind a trash can, a big rubbish bin, and like orders his goons on you. And I remember him like he's like shouting at you from across the way. Yeah, he had a funny voice actor, proper like, you know, if you could picture him what he might look in the remakes, he's like kind of like weaselly and skinny and a bit horrid. Just a guy
What's
that
his
you're just
fucking
not gonna
name
like.
from Resident Evil 5? Oh my god, what's that slime bag from that game?
Yeah.
Him.
Oh, I'm gonna have to find
God
that.
almighty. He's like the player model I'm imagining you right now. What's his name on that?
Oh, I'm looking at Ricardo Irving.
Ricardo Irving.
Yeah, I can imagine that. He just horrible little weedy thing.
Fucking disgusting. Yeah, man. He's a great character. I love that everyone's either a kung fu cop or like a daring rogue. Like it's such a fucking like wushu Chinese Hong Kong cinema action film. It's so sick. There's even part where Max Payne says in the story, he's like, my kung fu is strong. Like after he overcomes some adversity. I can't remember which bit it is.
So
There's some
at this
great
point,
moments.
this is where the story then flips into like the mob are gone. It doesn't matter anymore. It's all about Nicole Horn, the Acer Corporation. They're the force behind Valkyr, and ultimately they're responsible for the chain of events that led to his family's murder, right?
Yeah, if not ultimately responsible.
Yeah.
And answers must be spared to Max. We're going back. We fight Lupino and we get drugged by Nicole Horn and then have a terrible nightmare. We believe we're in a computer game and then we hear our wife screaming and we do the whole thing again. But that's the nightmare where we learn about Michelle, your wife's connection to Ace Corporation, or at least the knowing of V as a designer drug. And then you wake up from your OD, and he's curled up in a ball in the snow, and Max Payne, aching and bruised, somehow pulls himself out of this lethal dose of V, and into a diner where he sups coffee. And then I think he gets twigged in to go to... I can't remember how he learns to go to the foundry, but there is a foundry on the outside of town, like a metal foundry, which is hot for activity, and it has a linking to like Acer or a shipment or something like that. This bit's a bit sketchy for me for like the details, because for me as a player, I just got like shoehorned in, like, right, new enemy, let's go.
Yeah, I did feel like that a bit. I felt like some of the areas were kind of like they pulled the plot along to the next bit and didn't have as big standout bits.
Yeah, in a way, there was definitely some parts in the foundry level, because like that level evolves into so underneath this, you fight your way through this foundry, which is for some reason swarming with all of these private military guards. So Max is like, oh yeah, it's definitely something going down here. So he just blindly like infiltrates the place and ends up stumbling upon like an elevator, which leads him to a secret military bunker, like a proper like black site military bunker with like medical testing labs and everything. And it turns out this is where B, Valkyr, was originally invented and produced. And there's a bunch of corpo killer machine gun men, who are there to blow the place up. Like, literally self-destruct it. They set off, like, this self-destruct sequence, and you've got to race your way out of the building. I really liked that level. It was great.
Yeah, it's cool. But, yeah, like I said, it's just one of those ones where it kind of, like, it doesn't give, like, the next big plot step. It kind of just adds a little bit more context around it. So some of these things, like, escape me because a lot of the sections are hallway shooting, right?
Yeah, a lot of them are, although this one's quite cool because it has a lot of level changes. It is done through elevators, but something I noticed, and I swear the level designers must have done this on purpose, but a lot of the elevators you can see through the floor through grates, and you can see that you're actually physically moving, like, on an elevator. It's not doing, like, a level change and spitting the level out ahead of you as the doors open. It's like one huge level you traverse in, and for me that actually was like a grounding moment. In terms of, like, immersion and gameplay, I was like, oh shit, yeah, I'm just going through one big space. This isn't some, like, video game. I'm Max, and I'm in a bunker.
They definitely could have been hiding kind of loading screens there, or just, like, suspending your belief that you're actually moving and just changing the environment in the background.
It's almost like they were self-conscious for putting so many elevators in a section that they were like, oh, we got to make sure they know they're not, like, getting cheated.
So from this point on, it kind of changes to where Max is just chasing down the Acer Corporation, right? And he knows who he's going for.
Yeah, Nicole Horn is implicated. That's what you discover in the military bunker. It was Nicole Horn that did it. I swear there's somebody that gives you some more information as well. Like, oh yeah, that was it. So as soon as you leave the bunker, you get a call from an old man who's called you a couple of times before to introduce himself, just off random payphones and shit as you've been going through your missions. Alfred Woden, that was his name.
That's the one, yeah.
And he invites you to have a meeting with him and his secret society of old people who are very rich in his mansion.
Ah, yes. Yeah, he does. And he clues you in that they're going after this V as well. And doesn't he basically kind of imply to Max that he's going to essentially sort him out with immunity for this?
Yes, he does. He basically says, look, we have a common enemy, Nicole Horn, made V, and we shut down that program, but she carried it on, and that is not okay. We don't want that. So if you sort her out, we will make all of your problems go away when the police catch up to you.
So I'm gonna go away, Max.
We're gonna go away. But suddenly, because it's all happening to Max, the door breaks in, armed guards rush in and mow down everyone in the room as Max flings himself out of a window to safety. And then you have to fight your way out of the mansion. Yeah,
you do. That's a cool bit. Obviously, I can't remember if it gives you at that point
you
or
discover
not.
A
Woden
security camera later in the level where you can see back into the room you were just in.
Yeah.
It reveals that Andrew Woden has actually stood back up. And that the bullets were blanks, and he was covering his tracks, making Max believe that he was dead so that he wouldn't be able to come chase him for his bargain.
Yeah. So he's been double-crossed.
Just want to point out a bit of mythology right here. Okay. Woden, he's got one eye, right? He's got a...
Yes, like Odin.
Like Odin. And what does Odin do? He's a fucking liar. He makes false deals.
Oh, yes.
Yeah?
That's so cool.
Especially to the man that brings Ragnarok, right?
Yeah, that's so cool.
Yeah. Fucking weird, right? I didn't spot that until like way after I finished the game when I was doing notes.
No, I didn't think about that either. That's really cool. So yeah, then in the kind of ending areas of the game, once you've learned from all these different people and been backstabbed by all these different people about essentially the Acer Corporation, and Nicole is the person that you're after.
Yeah.
Max just goes on this rampage at the Acer Corporation buildings.
He's there and he's ready to do the deed.
Yeah, he's hunting her down. And you make your way through the building and you kind of like fighting definitely like scaled up enemies. They've got like better guns. You start getting introduced to like the M4 rifle and things like that.
The jackhammer auto shotgun,
yes,
which I never really used until right at the end. I was like, oh shit, I haven't been using this.
I think you get that in the parking garage level.
Yeah, I think so. I never really used it until
No, I didn't find it. There was
the very
that
end bit,
strong.
and then I was like, "What the fuck? I should have used this before," because it is actually quite good if you use it in certain ways.
Yeah, I didn't find that it was that strong.
You gotta get the double
yeah.
hit, the double shot, it's the double
Yeah,
shot
you do.
tech.
Yeah, you definitely got to get in close with it, and it's like fully auto, right? It's like an AA-12.
Yeah, you got to shoot a shot and then immediately dive into bullet time, and it'll reload and immediately shoot another shot with whatever
There
gun
it
you're
is.
using. Then you just fucking tech it like that.
Yeah. So you basically rampage through the building, right? And you kind of uncover the last little bits of the plot, and Max just fully knows who's involved now, and it's just pure revenge, trying to kill Nicole.
Yeah, it's great. The way it plays out, obviously you're chasing her up this building. She occasionally escapes just about through an elevator. You're fighting all these armed guards, and they're throwing everything they can in the way. And she speaks to you, obviously monologuing. It is campy, it's meant to be. She's monologuing at you through the tannoy. And like over the levels, as you get higher and higher towards her penthouse above her office, she starts to get a bit more nervous, and there's even bits where you can hear her talking to her men, being like, "Come on, he's just one man." And they're like, "It's not just one man, it's Max Payne."
It's Max
Sick.
Payne.
It's sick.
Yeah.
You feel like a badass. You feel like, yes, I'm about to fucking get this bitch.
Yeah, you do. Before you quite get up to the top, you meet Mona Sachs again, right? She's in the elevator.
Yes.
And like you mentioned earlier, this is where she dies, but is she dead? So the elevator opens, and then some of the private military guys, whatever they are, they turn up and fire shots, and Mona's hit, and then the elevator doors close. When they reopen, she's not there.
Her body is gone.
Yeah, her body's gone. So
it's never mentioned again.
No, it's never mentioned again. She's out. And then you carry on moving towards the top of the building, and as you get to the top, they start throwing more and more at you, and they throw the chopper at you, right?
Yeah, I love
that
the chopper.
That bit was cool, but I found it weird. I thought maybe was I meant to kill it, but if I'm correct, it just flies away after a set amount of time.
You're meant to break the window next to you, and then the glass roof of the elevator that's parked just below yours, and then jump in that.
Yeah, no, there's that bit, but there's a bit earlier where you're in a big room, and the chopper.
Oh yeah, you get locked in a room, and the shutters come up, and there's a helicopter. I was like, yeah, I was wondering because I wasn't really shooting back at it. I was just hiding behind this sculpture that was perfectly blocking every bullet, and I just waited for a bit, and it went. I think.
Yeah, I think so. It would be like the one of the Pyramid Head fights in Silent Hill 2.
I'm assuming that you're supposed to intelligently look at its direction of fire and bullet time your way around the room.
Yeah,
but
I just stood behind the pillar.
It's quite a long sequence. It keeps you waiting for a good minute and a half, and if you bullet time it, that's it slows it down by 8 times.
Yeah, and obviously you only get so much bullet time until you kill another person. So
yeah, that's how you recharge it.
Yeah, but then you get that elevator bit.
Yeah, the elevator bit
comes between the elevators.
And you jump between the elevators. That was really cool. That's just really intuitive, really ingenuitive level design. I like that a lot. Good set.
Yeah, it's good. And then you start getting closer to Nicole, and you're chasing her through the kind of the top level of the building where it looks a little bit more high tech. She's running, and then you get to the staircase to get out onto the roof, and she throws the grenade down the stairwell, and I dove to get onto the stairwell because there was no danger, but I'm just diving around as Max Payne, and dove straight on top of the grenade. So luckily I'd saved before that and didn't save lock myself. Did that happen to you at all, where you saved yourself into just death every time?
No, luckily I was really conscious of it. Mostly because I totally forgot about the quick save function for about the first 2 levels. And there was a good hour of playtime where I was just playing the first 2 levels because I was playing them over and over again, having died.
There was a few times where I forgot to save. It's with again playing Stalker.
Yeah, just so painful, so painful. But there's an elevator. There's one other elevator which I thought was really cool in the Asa building, which has the laser mines up it with no roof on top of the elevator.
Oh, yeah.
You got to shoot the laser mines before the elevator reaches them. I thought it was really fun, actually. It was just like, yeah, sure, why not?
That bit's cool. That's like almost like a section from a Resident Evil game. Like a modern Resident Evil games. There's a bit where you have to jump through the moving lasers as well in one of the Acer buildings.
I forgot about that as well.
Or is that in like bit. There's a military compound section earlier. There's a lot that happens in this kind of closing section that gets a bit jumbled for me, as we've said. But yeah, there's some cool little gameplay bits like that.
Yeah, for sure. Like they were really creative with the level design. There's like a minecart bit in the foundry that I forgot about. There's all this fire spitting out the walls and all this hot metal and stuff.
Oh yeah, and you have to
use the minecart to get through this passage and move this burning beam or something.
Yeah, I remember now. Yeah,
interesting little bits like that. There's a puzzle earlier as well in the nightclub. You have to move a bunch of stage screens with pulleys, and there's like 5 pulleys in a row, and when you flip them, it does that one off, one on thing.
But I didn't really find that it had any puzzle to it. I kind of just flipped them all and then was like, oh, I can walk through. Or at least the order that I flipped them in was just perfect first time. I'm not sure if it's actually anything you have to work out.
Yeah. I think you're right. I didn't really have trouble with it either. Yeah, there's little puzzles here and there, and I just think it's cool. They're always different, and they're never really that hard. And then there's little things like secret rooms that are behind little puzzles sometimes as well, which is usually just like a one-time fix.
Yeah, you mentioned there was secrets earlier, obviously like the TV shows and potentially other secret rooms. I'm not sure I really found any. I'd find side rooms that'd have like extra loot in them.
There's a Buffy reference in one room. There's a guy with like a stake in his back, and it says Buff next to it. It looks like
yes,
got the Y.
Yeah,
you did find that.
Yeah, I did find that, but I've not seen Buffy or anything, so I didn't really.
Buffy's great. I recommend it to anyone. And then you get in nearer. The enemies do get tougher, and I like that. It's good pacing, good scaling.
Yeah, and it ends with you chasing her onto the roof of the Acer building.
Yes.
Where she's running for a helicopter, and you're getting attacked, and you basically, the game, it shows you that there's a big pylon on top of the building. I presume it'd be like a grounding rod for lightning, right?
Yeah, or like a communications tower or something, because you're locked away from her. You can't get to the helicopter.
Yeah, you can't get to the helicopter.
There's a gate.
So you realize that if you shoot the supports, it's wobbling in the wind. You can kind of get
the cable tethers.
Happen. Yeah, and I got in a tough position here where, again, I had like no health and like 6 dudes run out, so I had to replay it loads and loads to work out how to kill these dudes. But you shoot the cables, right? So you shoot the one on your side, and then there's one on a far side, and you can't get through, right?
Yeah.
So you do have to just shoot it from the distance.
Yeah.
That is what you're meant to do. Okay,
yeah, the idea is that you're like, you go to the gate and you're like, what the fuck do I do? Because I did this in the moment and I realized like, this was perfect pressure. This is perfect level design. You shoot the one that you can see that's perfectly in view, and you're like, what do I do? Where can I go? And the only option is you jump out on the precarious ledge where the original cable tether was supported, so that you can see across where the wall was blocking you, and then you snipe
get a shot off on it.
And smash, smash, smash. It starts wobbling. The helicopter's like on 1 second. The guy's calling out like take off. So you got like 30. You got a guy calling down from 30 seconds on this radio. The pressure's really on.
Yeah. Did you mess it up at all?
Nah, man. I fucking nailed it. I was in the moment. I got that whole sequence in one try. Easy peasy. I was Max. I was him.
I presume there's like the alternate ending for if you fail that.
What?
So
Never failed it in my life, apparently.
Yeah, no, I failed it like 4 times. Because I was running around thinking I should be able to get into this next section. I was wondering if there was a bug with one of the gates was meant to open, and then I just started throwing shots over. But yeah, if you don't do it, the helicopter takes off. It circles the building, it spins around, and it just sprays its machine guns into Max, and Max dies.
Oh my god, that's awful.
Yeah,
that's a terrible ending.
But instead, you hit the pylon, you hit the supports on the pylon, and the tower falls onto Max.
Onto Max?
Onto
Nicole!
Onto Nicole. It falls onto the helicopter.
Falls onto the helicopter, and it completely annihilates the helicopter pad, which goes tumbling to the city
tumbling
floor.
off the side of the building. And then you come back full circle to the intro cutscene of the game. Max is on the edge of the building, pulling his badass face. Well, his face.
Yes,
and
his
then
face.
it's all over for Max in his revenge plot. He's taken down the mob. He's got to the bottom of Valkyr. He's taken down Acer. He realized that his wife was involved, and they basically had her assassinated. And it's all done. And then it comes back round to like, well, is Max gonna get out of this? Is the deal he made earlier in the game gonna get him out? And doesn't look like it when you see him getting put into the police car, right?
As he gets put into the police car, though, there is a man in the crowd.
There is a man in the crowd.
Gives you a nod.
It gives you a nod, but it ends. It doesn't actually.
It's a one-eyed man.
Doesn't tell you.
It's a one-eyed man. So it's another Odin reference, I swear. That whole interaction.
Yeah, it must be. But it doesn't tell you if Max actually gets away with it or not. But yeah, it's the Odin reference. And, did the deal go through, or was Max double-crossed?
Yeah. I would say, knowing Max and his luck. But, there are 2 more games, so.
Yeah, there's 2 more games, so I'm sure he gets out of it. I need to see. But it's cool. It's a cool cliffhanger. And, if you're playing it at the time it came out when there wasn't the sequel, then you don't know what happens to Max.
It's a really abrupt cliffhanger as well. It's literally like, right, I got arrested. Am I going to be okay? Fade to black. So, wow. Oh, God. That was the whole thing.
Yeah, and then that's the end of the story. We've definitely told it in a very botched order. We weren't trying to, give you the beat-by-beat plot, because it's a fairly complex plot, for the 9 hours, and it's a simple story, but it has a lot of different connecting characters.
Yeah. Now that I'm trying to remember it all as well, it's...
Yeah, it's enough for me to not remember every link and every level and how each level flows into each other, but I'm sure we covered the general plot good enough, right? We spoke about the big points that we enjoyed. Yeah,
definitely. This is one of the better stories in computer games that I have played.
Yeah, I really enjoyed it, and like I said earlier, it really just sits as it's just, although it has those complexities, it is a nice and fully presented story. You don't have to go diving into files to understand what was going on. Sure. You see the plot, it unfolds, and you get the payoff. Max takes everyone down.
Yeah.
And then it leaves you with that nice little cliffhanger.
I think it's a really excellent example of using game design as a storytelling medium. So like I said before, like a lot of the sound cues and sound design and the way that you interact with the environment, the fact that the third person shooting has more than just shoot bullet at stuff. It's got the slow-mo and the bullet, travel time. There's a lot of nuance and depth which is used as literally as part of the storytelling vessel. So I feel like that's maybe why it's harder to remember some of the nuances of the story beats, like the little connecting dots and stuff, because it's very immersive as you're playing it, and you do get sucked in so much that the meaning of those points sort of comes and goes with the action you're putting in. I think that's fucking sick. I think that's so unique and like real, that's like a movie I'd play again. I'm really glad I came back to this game, and I'm so surprised that I enjoyed it as much as I did coming back to it as well.
Yeah, well, this is something I always like to talk about at the end, as we're coming to the end of the podcast. And it's a good time to say it now. I think it would be something I'd probably want to go and play again, because I feel like playing it again, I would understand and notice the little nuances in the story and the little environmental storytelling things that it does. Again, and it was fun. Yeah, I definitely want to go play the second one. And I can imagine I might play this first one again at some point in the future. I don't see why not. As a little just, I remember when I played that, let's go quickly play it. It's only a short game. That's what's so great about all these short games. You can just go back and play it, and it's not an investment of your time, or like a huge one.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's really important too to go and play these games sometimes, because they did sort of solidify an era or inspire entire genres of games or use of mechanics or anything like that.
Yeah, and I'm having fun playing older games again. You know, I'm actually getting around to clearing my backlog, and the podcast is helping me do that. Not that I've played tons of super, like, legendary older games, but, you know, this is definitely one of them, and I really enjoy doing that. I can't ask my normal question of, do you think this game deserves a remake? Well, I can ask it, but it's happening, right?
Yeah, it's happening. I'm glad it's happening on Remedy's creative direction as well. With
Me too. And I think I think it does deserve it because it's cool. It'll be cool to see how they really envisioned it. But I don't think it needs it. Because like I said, it feels pretty modern. Obviously, it has its shortcomings, and the things I'll be excited to see in the remake is the way they flesh out the world, the characters, just the environments, make it more immersive. But it's not like this is a game where it's like a chore to go back and play, and it should be a thing that like potentially turns people off from playing it. And this is where I think remakes are a good thing, right? Because there's some of these franchises that I maybe never would have got into, or even maybe just wouldn't play the old games because they are old, and I think I'd struggle to play it. You know, I struggle playing tank control games and things like that.
Yeah, for sure.
You know, the remake of Silent Hill 2 is what introduced me to the franchise, and now I absolutely love it. Resident Evil, I'd played the more modern ones, but I didn't think I'd ever go back and play the original ones. Maybe I would have eventually, like, fallen more in love with the series, but the remakes just did so much for me.
Yeah, for sure.
And I feel like they're a good thing in that stead. But I don't think this game needs that. I don't think anybody should be deterred from playing the original Max Payne because it's an older game.
Yeah, for sure. It doesn't play like it's so old. Like, you can definitely get, like, I mean, it's a third-person shooter, which are always, you know, pretty plateaued as a genre anyway, just because of the way that they play. But in terms of that, I think it delivers everything you'd expect from a third-person shooter smoothly, consistently, presentationally, and it also has all of its unique features as well, which are so charming and set it so aside that as a modern day player, I highly recommend this. It should go on a top 100 list of I should play this game.
Yeah, I agree. And I didn't expect all the additional stuff with it. I maybe should have known going into a Remedy game, but I kind of have this image of Max Payne in my head. Well, I don't anymore, but before playing it and only playing the third one, that it's kind of just cheesy action, shoot 'em up. I didn't think it would have this cool plot with all this like weird mystical intrigue stuff included as well.
Yeah, super rich, really, really rich. And the way it enriches itself is so passive. Like, all the creativity across the board is just fantastic. It's great to see Remedy still making products and, you know, launching projects that are creatively diverse and bold and really pushing the boat out. And if they've got a budget of like 70 million, like $1 million of that is going to like a fucking song and dance show, which I think is hilarious and it's awesome. Who doesn't want to see that shit? It's great. If you're a hater of the Alan Wake musical number, fuck you, alright? Let people be. That is the sickest shit.
Yeah, I know you know that point of the game. I probably showed you it, or maybe I even streamed it to you whilst I played it. But it's worth going back to, you know, playing the whole game, which you haven't done, to see the context around it, because it's so good. Yeah, and it's low-key a heater. The song sticks in my head all the time. Yeah,
for real,
the
dog.
song sticks in my head.
That's the thing I was going to say, what you were saying for the Max Payne remake. It's a shame that James McCaffrey's like passed, because you know, the voice of Max is iconic. So iconic that it transferred into, you know, Casey, with the likeness of Sam Lake still attached. It's clear that Sam Lake clearly had a relationship with James, and, you know, it's a shame to see that has ended, especially working on the project again. Must be weird, you know. I wonder how feelings are for that. I've heard Sam Lake in interviews doing research for this, him describing the development of Max Payne and 1 as actually quite trying times for him, and not that clear in his head, and it was a bit of a shit show. Only organisationally, I think it's a very fond time for him as well.
Yeah, I'm sure it was tough. It's early.
But they were an emerging studio, and he was just taking up the mantle as creative director as a result of the success of Max Payne. And, you know, it's really, really interesting to have gone into the ins and outs of this. And I find with these Finnish guys, I really respect Finnish developers, because they seem to always be really honest people who I guess they have a hobby of looking deep inside themselves, but they're wonderful. They seem to wonderfully understand how to translate things into stories, which is just weird. I love it.
Yeah, I think Remedy are great, and like I said, I really enjoy Control, really enjoy Alan Wake, and I really think you should dive into them. As a studio you obviously love with Max Payne, this is them in the modern day with big budget really going wacky. And when I say wacky, they're going wacky.
Big time.
They're definitely games that you should jump into, and I'm excited for when they do the remakes of Max Payne and Control Resonant in September.
Yeah, awesome. Yeah, you've definitely piqued me onto it. I mean, to be honest with you, I don't think I realised how much of a Remedy fan I was until replaying this.
Yeah.
It's got to be another go, I reckon.
Yeah, in my head, I'm starting to see Sam Lake as another like Hideo Kojima figure.
Yeah, a little bit, you know. That's looking at his repertoire and actually his attitude to everything as well. It's just, you know, and the fact that industry investors actually trust him with a product is pretty fucking rare these days.
Yeah, and everyone loves him. You know, he again, like Kojima, he's always posting cool stuff on his Instagram. He's always linking up with people, showing them around the Remedy office. It's really cool.
Yeah, he's a dude. Nah, I mean, you need to watch some John Woo. If I was going to recommend some John Woo films for anyone who was interested to see the inspiration for the action in these games, and also some of the culture as well, there's a voice line that Max does. Where he says, after you shoot Cogniti and he leaves, he says, Cogniti bailed, I made like Chow Yun-Fat. Chow Yun-Fat's that actor from all the films that John Woo made.
Okay.
And back in the day, like back in the 90s, people actually used to say that shit. And I remember me and my stepbrother picking that up. And then like me and my mum and my dad and him would be like fucking saying the shit. It was really good.
That's great.
Little voice line. But yeah, watch The Killer. The Killer's awesome. He's kind of smooth in that, or A Better Tomorrow. Chow Yun-Fat. And then otherwise, yeah, Can't Eat, man.
I need to go watch these movies now.
Film, dude. Can't Eat was being shown in the UK in cinemas as special viewings. I can't remember if it's passed or not, but they come about.
That's awesome. Yeah, I need to go watch these films now.
Yeah, they're sick. They're only like 2 hours long. Like, they're short films.
There's a few films that are like, you know, adjacent to games or inspired games that I've been learning about recently that I need to go watch. One of them's Jacob's Ladder. Apparently it's very, very Silent Hill.
Jacob's Ladder?
Yeah, it's I'm pretty sure it's like a psychological horror. Apparently it's very Silent Hill. So it's probably the best we're going to get considering the god-awful Silent Hill movies we've got. The first one's not the worst, right?
It's funny. It's kind of like... God, I can't remember what other series I had in mind, but yeah, the first one is so much better now that I've watched it. I think it's just such a fucking great time watching that film.
Yeah, it's for its time.
Newest one.
Oh, the newest one and the second one with like Kit Harington in it. They're so bad.
I'm surprised this film's got worse. You know, same director as the first one.
But anyway, I think that's coming to a close for Max Payne.
Yeah, man. So happy to have played it again. It really, really stood out as a bigger game than I thought it was.
Yeah, me too. I'm really, really glad you suggested it. It's something that I may not have revisited otherwise, and so far you're on to suggesting me some cool games.
Yeah, man. I don't know. My list is getting shorter. We're getting through them.
We are.
I'm getting inspired though. I'm looking forward to your Control episode that you mentioned you'd played.
Yes, I'm really looking forward to that.
I want to get that game done before you get your episode out, because you've twigged me on, man. You're right. Like, Sam Lake might be that guy.
Yeah, I think from the trailers, you know, I presume you won't have seen them, and if you haven't played Control, don't watch the trailers for Resonant. But it looks like it's going to really hit it out the park. It looks like it's completely changing the not the type of game it is, but it's not going to play the same. It's going to play very, very differently to the first one, and I think it's so cool. And they're just, you know, Control was the first one was probably a bit of a test, and they you know, they nailed it. So now they're going all guns blazing on this one, especially after the success of Alan Wake 2. I imagine this is going to be something really special.
Absolutely. These are games that will last and people will be playing for a long time. we're at that graphical point where things won't look or feel as old as things that are like 10 years old.
Yeah,
So,
but
you know,
I mean,
these are masterworks.
Remedy have always been good at that. Like we said earlier, this Max Payne, it didn't feel old. It felt like it could be made now as a little throwback indie game. So,
Dude, comparing it to Spec Ops: The Line was like the perfect fucking metric as well. Because that game's combat was so shit, but the story is like great. It's such an experience, really great experience.
I'm playing that now for a later hopeful podcast episode, and that's going to be interesting to talk about because the story in that game is good.
Excellent. Awesome, dude. I'm really looking forward to it, man. Thank you for having me on.
No worries. Thank you for coming on again, suggesting a great game and being a good guest.
Yeah, thank you, dude. It's been a pleasure. It's so fun learning about games, and doing it this way is even better. I'm actually starting to like think to myself, should I do this just like in private, like make notes in my own games? Because I'm really liking it.
This is how it started for me. I was getting to a point where I felt, and I think a lot of people feel it, they kind of get into working and they think about gaming in their head more than they actually do it. They hype up in their head getting home and playing a game, and then you get there and you just stare at your Steam library. And something that got me out of that rut was just putting down some of the multiplayer games I've been playing for a long time and starting to take my own notes on games. And I just had so much fun doing that. I was like, well, why don't I just start a podcast?
That's awesome, man. That's such a cool place to start. It's the perfect reason to as well.
Yeah, and I'm having so much fun doing it. So
yeah, and you know, you're helping people do the other two things that really helps you get in playing games, good games. It's like talking about them, listening about them, and just learn about them.
Yeah, I think it's good. So thank you as well for helping me out, guesting.
My pleasure.
Being there for me to throw questions at and give feedback.
Hey, it's been great, man.
Yeah, good episodes.
Nice one. Yeah, thank you, Louis. I'm going to make like Chow Yun fat.
Nice.
And get out of here.
Yeah, thank you for listening.
Till next time.
One.
Bye.